Hi everyone, this is Naveen Kumar Saini. In the course of wireless and mobile communication, code KREC 085, today we will start the cellular infrastructure, cellular systems component and its operations. Okay, so in that, so why we require the cellular technology or the cellular theory or the cellular system? So there are different areas on which we have to work on. Okay, so we will take one by one of all these areas on because of that the wireless cellular technology come into existence. So what are the basic issues? So there is the large subscriber capacity, okay, because the as more number of subscribers are there. So because of that, so we require to use efficient utilization of the system. Okay, so for that we use the cellular technology. Second is the efficient use of spectrum resources. So this one is the second issue. Third is the nationwide coverage, because we have to use we have to cover maximum area through which we can use our limited resources. Then adaptability to traffic density, telephone service to both vehicle and portable user terminals, and toll quality and the affordability which can eventually make it mass market service. Okay. So, these are the basic issues through because of we require the cellular technology. Okay. So, this is one of the very efficient technology which is used. So, what basically it is? So, what is the cellular basically? Cellular just is cell. Okay. So, the if we go for the concept behind that, so then the cellular concept which was a major breakthrough in solving the problem of spectral cognition and the user capacity. Okay, so it offered basically very high capacity in a limited spectrum allocation without any major technology changes. Okay, so what we have basically in our kitty we have the spectrum. So this spectrum is very limited and we have to utilize that spectrum so that we can use efficiently that given spectrum or the bandwidth, right. So because right, so in that way spectrum is one of the very efficient you can say very limited thing which we have along with us. Then the cellular concept is that is a system level idea which calls for replacing a single high power transmitter or the large cells which many low power transmitters and each providing coverage to only a small portion of a service area. Okay, so if we have the high power of transmitters, so we require the more large area, and if we have the low power transmitters available, then we can use the small area. Okay, so this is basic thing about the cellular concept. Okay, so the concept of cellular technology which encompasses various aspects of infrastructure, instances, division of area, frequency management or the allocation and the call handling. So these are the these are the areas on which we have to work on, so that we can use the cellular system efficiently. Then there are the following are the two major components of the mobile telecommunication system. So these components are the central station and the mobile telephone. So what we require basically we want to originate the call and we want to terminate the call. Okay, so this is our main purpose of that. So for that for call origination and the call termination, there is some system between these two. Okay, so we will study these things here. So before that, what is a central station? So this central station is common for many subscribers and includes the switching equipment and the RF transmitter and the receiver. So these are the basic thing which is comprised into a central station, transmitter and receiver. Second one is the mobile telephone. So the mobile telephone, so every subscriber must have a mobile telephone obviously, and that includes the microphone, speaker, dialing facility and the radio transmitter and receiver. So, these are the basic thing which comprise into the mobile telephone and the central station. Okay. So, now come to the next part of that in modern cellular technology, like rural and urban regions. Okay. So, these are divided into the area according to specific provisioning guidelines or the standard protocols. So, based on the density in a given city or in a given city or in some nationwide, so there is it is divided in the rural and the urban urban areas. Okay. So, based on this density within this, because rural there is a density is very less, but in urban areas density is very high, okay, so in large. So, in that case, because of that we have to divide the we have to divide the area, in that way we can efficiently utilize the frequency or the spectrum into the rural or urban areas. Okay. So, next is deployment parameters. So, such as the amount of cell splitting and the cell size. Okay. So, cell splitting and the cell size, it is the area which we will divide of a given large area, and it is determined experimentally in the cellular system architecture. So, these 2 points or these 2 concepts are very important in the cellular system. First is cell splitting and the size. So, we will discuss these 2 points itself separately. Okay. So, for each region which is planned according to the engineering plan, right. So, based on our engineering concept, we will divide the cells, we will divide this given area into the small cells, and we will decide the cell size, and we will split the cells itself. Okay. So, what are the thing which we require for engineering point of view? That is the cells, clusters, frequency reuse and the handovers. So, these are the points which we will concentrate when we use the complete cellular system. So, what are the points? That is the cells, clusters, frequency reuse and the handover. These are the concepts which we use. So, today there are different software tools are also available to check our concept for what is efficient number of cells are required, what is the cluster size is there, and what is the frequency reuse concept we can use, and up to how much cells within the cluster, and then the handover properties of if a mobile user is moving from one cell to another cell. So, what is the different handover properties are there or the schemes are available. Okay. So, then what is a cell? A small cell, when we talk about, then a cell is a basically geographical unit of a cellular system. So, this is one of the basic unit of the cellular system, it is the cell. So, this cell is like, it looks like this one. Okay. So, this is a hexagonal cell. So, the term cellular comes from the honeycomb or the hexagonal shape of the areas into which the coverage region is divided theoretically. Okay. So, this is a theoretical point of view, we divide the complete given area into small cells. Then, so these areas, this as I am talking about the hexagonal. So, this shape is theoretical shape, but practically it is not possible. Okay. So, cell wise one base station provide transmission of the small geographical area. So, every cell comprise the base station through which we can transmit the signals to the subscriber or the user of mobile phones, and each cell size vary depending on the landscape like topography locations such as mountains, valleys and plants. So, based on this properties of the environment or the location, we can divide the different cells. So, it depends on the cell size then. So, based on these issues we design the cell size. So, due to the constants imposed by the natural terrain and man-made structure, practically the cells are not perfectly hexagon, as I said. Okay. So, based on the this area and the locations, maybe some mountains are there, rivers are there, and mountain valley, as I said, different plains, hilly area. So, based on these structures or this environment, we can decide the different cell size and the number of cells. Okay, so what is a cluster? So, in the previous slide we have discussed about the cell and the cell size. Next is the cluster. So, cluster is nothing but a group of cells. Okay. So, in the group of cells form the cluster, and size of the cluster is we denote as capital N. Okay. So, in that no channels are reused within the cluster. So, if there is a co-channels, we want to use it like frequency reuse concept, which we will discuss. The frequency reuse, how we can utilize that? We have to go to the another cluster. Okay. So, the cluster no channels are reused. Fine. Within the cluster, in the how we can use another same channel or the same frequency into the another cluster, not in the same cluster. Then there is the example which is mentioned, the 7 cell cluster. Each cluster is located a set of frequencies. So, example is mentioned here. We can see there is the cluster which is of cell size of 7. So, this is one cluster. Okay. So, each cluster is located a set of frequencies. Like if I am using the 7 cells, so 7 frequencies I can use it, F1 to F7 like that. So, what is the size of cluster? How we can define? So, for that one we have the one formula, that is N is equal to I square plus J square plus Ij. Okay. So, based on this formula we can decide the cluster size. N is the number of this is a cluster size. Okay. So, based on this I square plus J square plus Ij, it means if we want the co-channel in the another cluster, so for that we can use this formula. So, I is non-negative integer, J is determine the relative location of the co-channel cells, which is shown in the figure. I will show it in the next slide. So, in that what is I? This is the vertical move, and J slant horizontal move. So, what is the concept behind that? We will get it into the next slide here. Okay. So, now reaching to the co-channel cells. So, this is the one of the technique which we require to get it. Okay. So, in the previous slide we have seen the equation. That equation was N is equal to I square plus J square plus I into J. So, what is the functionality of I and J, and what is the significance of that? So, it shows the relationship exists between the cluster design equation and frequency reuse as well as the reuse distance. Okay. So, to find the nearest co-channel cell, we have to use this equation. So, to find what is the co-channel cell is there. Okay. So, what is the technique? So, technique is just move I, just for example we have taken I is equal to 2 cells along any chain of hexagon, right. So, we are moving from here. So, 2 step we have to move in upward, that is 1 and 2, fine. Then second step is turn 60 degree clockwise and move J cells. So, just now at this moment we are assuming that J here we are taking the J is equal to 1 and I is equal to 2, right. So, as per this algorithm, when we move 60 degree, turn 60 degree clockwise, then it will be from here. So, this angle will be 60 degree, right. So, then we will move the J cells. So, J is 1, then we will move up to here. So, this cell is the co-channel cell of this one. If this one is the 1, so it will be the 1 itself. This is a co-channel for this cell, right. So, this is the method for reaching to the co-channel cells. Okay. So, there is an example of finding the hexagon area. So, for that the area we know, that is 2.58 r square, where r is the radius of the hexagon, right. So, here in this figure that is 2.3. So, here it is mentioned the geometry of from the figure we can see that A is equal to r cos theta, and here A upon R will be cos theta. So, theta is the 60 degree as we said, and you can see it here itself in the diagram. So, this value will be A is equal to R upon 2. Okay. So, but one more thing is important to know, that hexagon comprises 6 triangles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that. Okay. So, this is the 1, right, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So, these are 6 triangles are there in the hexagon. Okay. So, from there we got the one length, that is the A, then next is the B, that is the height. So, height of the triangle we can calculate from the Pythagoras theorem, that is B square is equal to R square minus A square. So, the value of B will be this one. Now, the total area of the hexagon will be the 6 times the area of the triangle. Okay. So, for that you can see that 6 into area of the triangle. So, here this value will become 2.598 into R square. So, this is the process to calculate the area of the hexagon. Okay. Cell size. So, the size of the cell which depends on the density of the subscribers. So, when we talk about dense subscribers, it means we are talking about the mobile phones, right. So, every subscriber has a single mobile phone or 2 mobile phones. So, as the number of subscribers are in a given region, so it will be dense, right. So, area will be dense. So, for that we have to use more and more some advanced technology, so that we can say that we are utilizing the complete area in efficient way. So, for that purpose we have to install the base station which will be of your high power or the low power base stations. So, based on that we on the basis of their size, that these cells they may be divided into different categories, we can categorize in different ways. So, that is the macro cells, micro cells, pico cells and the femto cells. So, today is in wireless communication when we talk about, so the research is going on how to utilize this complete given area, and how we can divide in different cells, so then we can utilize the given area. So, that area is nothing but the cell size, right. So, based on that how it is defined. So, it is defined based on the area, geographical area, like in urban or in rural area, the different characteristics are there, right. So, as in the previous slide we have discussed that there are different issues like mountains are there, landscapes are there, and some plain land is there. So, there are different reasons why we to divide the given cell into different cells. Okay. So, how to utilize that cell size? So, for that we do another technology, that is cell splitting. So, why we require the cell splitting? Basically, when we talk about the rural area where the density is less, but in the urban area the density is very large. So, when the density is very large, so in that case how to utilize that given resources and how to provide this to different users where the density is large. So, for that the process which we can do, cell splitting. We can split the cell in different small cells, as I have just mentioned about the pico cell, femto cell and all this. So, this is a scenario how you can small cells for the urban areas. Basically, we do the small cell sectorization into the urban areas basically, but in the rural area we have to use the base station, so that we can cover maximum area there. Okay. So, the density directly proportional to the cell splitting. Okay. So, the cellular system there are some components. So, there are 3 types of components are there in the cellular system. First one is the analog circuit switched system components, right. So, there are 3 subsystems are there: mobile unit or the mobile subscriber unit. So, the components are the control unit with the battery, transceiver and the antenna system. So, this is the mobile unit. Okay. So, what mobile we have, these are the components are there. Cell site. So, this is the second subsystem, cell site or the base station, right. This is depends on the physical location of radio equipment, and that provide the coverage within the cell. Okay. So, third subsystem is the mobile telecommunication switching office. So, it is generally utilized for the central coordination of the call between the mobile phone and the between the mobile phone or between the mobile phone and the landline phones. So, this is the coordination which takes place of, and the cellular administration itself. Okay. So, second method, that is digital circuit switched cellular system. So, example for that one is the GSM 900. In the previous case, the example was AMPS, which is well known to us. So, here there are 4 subsystems are there in the digital circuit switched cellular system. First one is the mobile station, so which comprise the mobile equipment with the battery and the SIM. So, the full form of the SIM, that is the subscriber identity module, right. Next is the base station, and the base transceiver station, BTS is a well known acronym is there, and the its functionality is transcoder rate adapter unit, right. So, it comprises that in the BTS or the base station. Next is base station controller. So, this base station controller is another important point which is differentiated from the your analog circuit switch. So, in the digital circuit switch, there is a new component, base station controller, so which perform the radio resource management for cells under its control and handle handovers, power management, time and frequency reallocation among the BTS. So, fourth subsystem, that is your switching subsystem. So, this switching subsystem, it coordinates the setup and calls between MS and PSTN users. Then next we have the packet switched cellular system. So, example for the packet switched cellular system is the GPRS, right. So, it has the 6 elements. So, what are those? MS or the user equipment, base station, radio network controller, service support network or node, gateway support node, GSN, and charging gateway function, that is CGF, right. So, these all are the components or the subsystems in the packet switched cellular system. Okay, so, these are the example of the GSM, so which comprise different components like VLR, HLR, AUC, EIR, GMSC, BSC, PSTN. Okay. So, all these components we will study time by time. I mean, in the next coming lectures we will discuss about complete architecture of the GSM system, right. So, now the antennas. So, in the cellular system, basically 2 types of antennas are used, that may be your omnidirectional or the directional antenna, and the example picture of omnidirectional and the directional antenna is also mentioned here. Generally in our dense environment we use this type of antenna, that is directional antenna. Okay, so, omnidirectional antennas are what? So, omnidirectional antennas circulate or radiate in all the direction of 360 degree, right. Then about the omnidirectional antennas, which are nothing but the dipoles or they radiate in all the lateral directions. And what about the directional antenna? So, this directional antenna, these are which projects a beam of radio energy in a specific direction and receives radio energy only from the specific direction. It will transmit in the specific direction and it can receive from the specific direction, employ horizontal beam width. So, it generates the beam width like that. Okay. So, the beam width which refers to the conical size of the radiated beam. Okay. So, it looks like this one. Suppose this is our one, so how our beam will be like this. So, this portion is the beam width. Okay. So, this is the beam width. So, next is the down tilting. So, down tilting is what? The another term, that is down tilting. So, the radiation pattern of a down tilt antenna is electrically or mechanically tilted downwards at a specified number of degrees to avoid the shadowing under and near the antenna zone. Okay. So, these are the terms which are used for the antennas, and what are the parameters and what are the effects or the factors. Okay. So, the base station antenna which is chosen according to the situation depending upon the many factors. So, these are size of the area to be covered. Second, this is the configurations of neighboring cell sites, and third, this is the type of antenna used, maybe omnidirectional or the directional antenna. Next is the antenna's beam width in the case of directional antenna, and finally, allotted RF spectrum, the antenna which can utilize. Okay, so, these are about the antennas, and another effect of antenna through the base station is the radiation. This is one of the factor through which the different type of antennas can be used, and which is basically effects on the residents in the urban areas, and it is independently monitored of RF exposure levels and among around the mobile phones base stations, which has been conducted for the many years under the control of government agencies. So, this is this is the radiation pattern from the base station. Okay. So, it looks like this. Then the different type of antennas which are used for mobile radio and frequency, that is the front end, right. So, the antenna like PIFA, that is planar and inverted F antennas, or the patch we also call as a patch antenna. So, the issue with this is the absorption rate. So, many in research is going on in the SAR, that is the specific absorption rate. Okay. So, it is a property of the any kind of antenna, and we want it has a low profile and has a omnidirectional pattern, right. So, the different type of length of the antenna can be takes place, maybe half lambda by 4 is the length of the antenna. So, based on the frequency we design the antenna whose length is lambda by 4. Okay. So, there is the operation of the cellular system. So, operation categorized in the 5 points. First one is the mobile originated call. So, there are basically two possibilities for generating the call. It can be between the mobile to mobile call, or it can be between the mobile to landline call. Okay. So, here the example is mentioned to generate the mobile call. So, it is starting if this vehicle wants to transmit send the request to the PSTN or mobile. So, for then it will send to the BTS, then this BTS will go to the BSC, then BSC will come to the MSC, mobile switching center, and then it will connect to the PSTN landline phone or the your mobile phones. Okay. Or maybe it may pass through the another BSC or the BTS of the another mobile phone. Okay. If it is in another cell site. Then mobile termination call. So, when you switch off your mobile, or if you hand it out to your call, in that case this request will go through from the PSTN to the MSC, and then from MSC to BSC, and then BSC to BTS, and then this BTS will disconnect to the from this phone from this call, right. So, this is the way from through which we can terminate the call. So, these are the stages for mobile terminated call. Then these are the steps which I had just discussed about the how to generate the call and how to terminate the call. So, these all are the steps. So, here just for example they have mentioned about the GSM. So, GSM concept is applying here, right. So, in detail we will discuss these things in the upcoming lectures about the GSM in detail. Okay. So, next is a network originated or landline originated call. So, here the feature is called registration which is used for the landline originated calls, and the landline user dials a mobile unit number, and then that telephone company zone office will recognizes that the call is from the mobile phone and forwarded to the MTSO and the MSC. So, this MTSO and MSC it sends a paging request or a paging message to the certain cell sites based on the mobile unit number, and the search algorithm will takes place. Then this each cell site terminates transmits the page on its own setup channel. Okay, so this is a step. Then finally, if the basically if the mobile unit is registered, then the registered site page the mobile, and the mobile unit recognizes its own identification on a strong setup channel. Okay, then it logs onto it and then respond to the cell site. Then mobile unit, it also follows the instructions which to use to tune to an assigned voice channel and initiates the user alert. Okay. So, fourth operation is called termination. So, this which we had discussed about that a mobile user turns off the transmitter and the particularly signal tone is transmitted to cell site and voice channel is freed by both the side. So, this is the way through which we can terminate the call. And the final operation is the handoff or the handover procedure, where if in the cellular telecommunication system the handover and the handoff refer to the same process of transferring ongoing call or data connectivity from one base station to another base station. Okay. So, when the mobile moves into the different cell site, then the conversation will be in process, but it will go through the different MSCs. Okay, the mobile switching center. So, these are two ways of using the handoff, that is soft handoff or the hard handoff. Okay. So, in the upcoming lecture we will discuss it in detail about the handoff and the frequency reuse. Okay. Thank you very much from my side. Thank you. Thank you.